Assalamu alaikum and a very pleasant morning, girls. Today we are going to see our second unit poetry session. In that you have Ode to Nightingale, poetry by John Keats. We'll see the biography of John Keats. Okay, John Keats, 1795 to 1821. Here he says one most famous quote: "They will explain themselves as all poems should do without any comment." John Keats to his brother George, 1888. Now we'll see John Keats' biography. He is John Keats. Who is John Keats? His English romantic lyric poet John Keats was dedicated to the perfection of poetry, marked by vivid imagery, that is, clear imagery that expressed a philosophy through classical legend. John Keats was an English romantic poet born on October 31, 1795 in London. In 1816, Keats became a licensed apothecary, but he never practiced his profession, deciding instead to write poetry. In July 1820, he published his third and best volume of poetry, Lamia Isabella, The Eve of Saint Agnes, and other poems. He has got the license of apothecary, that is, a person who prepared and sold medicines and drugs. Okay, in a medical field he got the license, but he never practiced that. And what he did, he started writing poetry. Is it clear? In July 1820, he published his third and best volume of poetry, that is Lamia Isabella, The Eve of Saint Agnes, and other poems. Is it clear, ma? Okay. John Keats devoted his short life to the perfection of poetry, marked by vivid imagery, great sensuous appeal, and an attempt to express a philosophy through classical legend. In 1880, he went on a walking tour in the Lake District. His exposure and over relaxation on the trip brought on the first symptoms of the tuberculosis, which ended his life. In the year 1890, he went on to a walking tour, that is trekking, an adventurous tour in the Lake District, where he got disease like a he saw the symptoms of tuberculosis. Because of tuberculosis only he died, okay, which ended his life. Is it clear? John Keats, while writing for magazines of his time, his poems received the constant critical attack, but his odes were considered his masterpiece. His odes considered to be a masterpiece. Okay, Keats is also known for his theory of negative capability, which expresses the belief that great people have the ability to accept that not everything can be resolved. John Keats died on February 23, 1821 from tuberculosis at the age of 25. At the very young age, he was died because of the disease tuberculosis. Okay. His childhood. A revered English poet whose short life spanned just 25 years, John Keats was born October 31, 1795 in London, England. He was the oldest of Thomas and Frances Keats, 4 children. Okay, there are 4 siblings. Okay, he is the youngest one. Oldest. Okay, Keats lost his parents at an early age. He was 8-year-old when his father, a livery stable keeper, was killed after being trampled by a horse. His father's death had a profound effect on the young boy's life. When he was 8, his father died. Okay. In a more abstract sense, it shaped the kid's understanding for the human condition, both its suffering and its loss. This tragedy and others helped ground Keats' later poetry, and that found its beauty and grandeur from the human experience. From that time, he has learned that human life has full of suffering as well as loss. Is that clear? At the early age, at the age of 8. Is that clear? On April 15, 1804, Keats' father died after falling off his horse. Keats' mother then would later die in 1809 due to tuberculosis. Keats' mother also died because of tuberculosis. Left as the oldest person in his house, Keats became the leader of the home because he is the elder one. So he became the leader at home because there is no one to take care. Is that clear? Because there are 4 children and he is the elder one and he is taking the 3 more kids, siblings. Is that clear? After these events, he looked to his master as a father figure whenever he needed guidance. And after that, after the loss of his parents, what he does? He whenever he needs any guidance, he goes to his master because he sees his master as a figure of father. Is that clear? In a more mundane sense, Keats' father's death greatly disturbed the family's financial security. Yes, of course, because his father has died and they are suffering and they are seeing the financial security is also disrupted. His mother Frances seemed to have launched a series of missteps and mistakes after her husband's death. She quickly remarried and just as quickly lost a good portion of the family's wealth. After her second marriage fell apart, Frances left the family, leaving her children in the care of her mother. She eventually returned to her children's life, but her life was a tatter. In the year 1809, due to tuberculosis, she also died. Back home, Keats' maternal grandmother turned over control of the family's finance, which was considerable at the time, to a London merchant named Richard Abbey. He refused to be forthcoming about how much money the family actually had and in some cases was downright deceitful. There is some debate as to whose decision was to pull Keats out of Enfield. But in the fall of 1810, Keats left the school for studies to become a surgeon. He eventually studied medicine at London Hospital and became a licensed apothecary in 1816. Okay, he went to London and to become to study medicine, but and what happened after that? He eventually he studied medicine at London Hospital and became a licensed apothecary in 1816. That is the supplier of medicines, we can say. Okay. Is that clear, ma? Okay. Then Keats would later drop his job as a surgeon and became a poet. He wrote mainly romantic poems. What happens? He dropped his job as a surgeon, okay, as an apothecary, but what he becomes? He becomes a poet. He wrote mainly romantic poems. Is that clear? His poetry was inspired by Lehighn's style. Is it clear? In his poetry career, Keats wrote poems but did not make a great deal of money. In his poetry career, Keats wrote poems but did not make a great deal of money. Okay, this lead to issues in his love. Since he was barely able to provide for himself, because he is not making money because of his poetry. So the financial shortage which will occur, right? Yes or no? So he is barely able to provide for himself. How can he take care of his 3 more brothers? Okay, then his early life we have seen. Yes or no? Keats becomes a key figure in the second generation of the British Romantic movement, along with Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. That is, his poetry is considered to be a key figure in the second generation of the British Romantic movement. Okay, along with Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. In the year 1803, parents sent him to board at John Clare's school in Enfield, close to his grandparents' house. Okay, befriended headmaster's son Charles Cowden Clare, who would later introduce the kids to Renaissance literature and serve as a mentor. In the year 1816, receives apothecary license, but by the end of the year, announces his intention to become a poet, not a surgeon. So, what he does, he drops the idea of becoming a surgeon, and he became a poet. Suffered periods of depression. First poem, An Intimation of Spenser, was written in 1814 when Keats was 19 and studying medicine. When at the age of 19, he has written An Intimation of Spenser in the year 1814. Then, early poetry. Keats' career in medicine never truly took off. Even as he studied medicine, Keats' devotion to literature and the arts never ceased. Through his friend Coward Clare, whose father was the headmaster at Enfield, Keats met publisher Leigh Hunt of the Examiner. In addition to affirming Keats standing as a poet, Hunt also introduces the young poet to a group of other English poets, including Percy Bysshe Shelley and William Wordsworth. That is, P.B. Shelley and William Wordsworth, you know, girls, they are also a romantic poet. In the year 1817, Keats his new friendship to publish his first volume of poetry, Poems by John Keats. The following year, Keats published Endymion, a mammoth 4,000-line poem based on the Greek myth of the same name. Keats had written the poem in the summer and fall of 1870, committing himself to at least 40 lines a day. He completed the work in November that year and it was published in April 1880. The 3 little poems dealing with mythical and legendary themes of ancient, medieval and Renaissance times are rich in imagery and phrasing. The volume also contains the unfinished Hyperion and 3 poems considered among the finest in the English language: Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode on a Melancholy, and Ode to a Nightingale. He died in Rome on February 23, 1821, at the age of 25 and was buried in Protestant cemetery. Girls, why I am giving the whole thing about the author means full biography, because then only you can understand why he has written the poetry and what are all the themes he has taken, the imagery, and what kind of poet he is. Like that you will come to know. So that I am giving you a brief explanation about the author. Okay, girls. So please listen and understand what type of poet he is and what are all the themes, images and phrases he is using. Okay, then only you can understand the poetry also. Okay, if you read only poetry, you will not understand what's the meaning, okay, and what he has thought to write that poetry. Is it clear? So the background also we should know, okay, and we have to know what made him to write particular poetry. Is it clear? So that we have first, what we have to do is, first we have to understand the poet and his writing style, okay, then only we can follow the poetry. Is it clear, ma? Okay, girls, if my voice is breaking or you're not hearing me, sorry girls, because I'm having fever. Even though I'm handling this, it's okay. Please try to understand, girls. Okay, thank you. Then we have, there is the four most important works of John Keats. This is A Thing of Beauty, this is Endymion, Bright Star, Le Bella Dame sans Merci, Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to a Nightingale, To Autumn are the most important work, four most important works. Is that clear? Keats' daring and bold style earned him nothing but criticism from two of England's more revered publications, Blackwood's Magazine and the Quarterly Review. The attack were an extension to heavy criticism lobbed at Hunt and he cadres of young poets. The most damning of those pieces had come from Blackwood's Whose piece, and the Cockney school of poetry shook Keats and made him nervous to publish Endymion. Keats' hesitation was warranted. Upon its publication, the lengthy poem received a lashing from the more conventional poetry community. One critic called the work the imperturbable delivering idiocy and of Endymion. Others found the four-book structure and it generally flow hard to follow and confusing. Then, recovering poet, John Keats' foremost themes is he used to deal with the theme of beauty, nature, power, love, fancy, and pain. These are, we can see in his poem, these are the themes he has taken, he has written about. He has written about the beauty, written about the love, nature, fancy, power, and pain. Is that clear? What makes John Keats as a romantic poet? How much of an effect this criticism had on Keats is uncertain, but it is clear that he did not take note of it. That is, because of his poetry, he had many criticism. Okay, that too very big. So, recovering from this, he is not bothering about the criticism. That is criticism, we are mocking or we are pinpointing some other's work. Okay, so Keats also got many criticism because of his lengthy poetry and romantic poetry. Okay, but he did not bother about all those things and he started publishing his poems as it is. But Shelley's later account of how the criticism destroyed the young poet and led to his declining health, however, have been refuted. Keats in fact had already moved beyond Endymion even before it was published. By the end of 1817, he was re-examining poetry's role in society. In lengthy letters to friends, Keats outlined his vision of a kind of poetry that drew its beauty from real-world human experience rather than some mythical grandeur. Keats was also formulating the thinking behind his most famous doctrine, negative capability, which is the idea that humans are capable of transcending intellectual or social constraints. Is it clear? Then, beauty is truth, truth is beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know. This is the most famous line from Ode on a Grecian Urn. Okay, line 49 to 50. It made him a romantic poet. He's telling that beauty is truth, truth is beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know. Keats' criticism about his life and his impending doom was seldom of his works. Though he was depressed about death, he wrote with a strong appreciation of life, love, and beauty. In a letter to his lover Fanny Brown, Keats writes, I have too luxurious to brood over in my walks, your loveliness and the hour of my death. I hate the world, it betters too much the wings of my self-will, and would I could take a sweet poison from your lips to send me out of it. In the year 1880, what he is telling is in one letter to his lover Fanny Brown, he is telling that I want two luxurious broods over in my walk, that is my loveliness, your loveliness, and the second one is hour of my death. Is that clear? It made him a romantic poet. Is that clear, ma? Can you get my points? Okay. Final years and death. Final years and death. In 1819, Keats contracted tuberculosis. That is, he comes to know that he is having tuberculosis. His health deteriorated quickly soon after his last volume of poetry was published. He ventured off to Italy with his close friend, the painter Joseph Servan, on the advice of his doctor, who had told him he needed to be in warmer climate for the winter. Okay, that is what a doctor advised him. He has to be in a warm place for the winter. Okay, because if it is cold, he will be affected very much because of tuberculosis. The trip marked the end of his romance with Brand. His health issues and his own dreams of becoming a successful writer has stifled their chances of ever getting married. That is, because of his health condition, he is not able to get married. Keats arrived in Rome in November after that year, and for a brief time he started to feel better, but within a month he was back in bed, suffering from a high temperature. The last few months of his life proved particularly painful for the poet. His doctor in Rome placed Keats on a strict diet that consisted of a piece of bread per day in order to limit the flow of blood to the stomach. He also induced a heavy bleeding, resulting in Keats suffering from both a lack of oxygen and a lack of food. Keats' agony, that is a full pain, was so severe that at one point he pressed his doctor and asked him, how long is this posthumous existence of mine to go on? That is, he is not able to bear that pain, so that he asked his doctor that how much it will take time to go on. That is, how much I will live in this world. Okay, when my death will arrive, like that he's asking. Keats' death came on February 23, 1821. That is, 3 years he has suffered with a great pain. It's believed that he was clutching the hand of his friend Severin at the time of his passing, because he was very much in pain, agony. Is that clear? Here I have shared with you one most famous quote, that is, I begin to get a little acquainted with my own strength and weakness. Praise or blame has but a momentary effect on the man whose love and beauty is the abstract makes him a severe critic on his own works, by John Keats. By this, I'll end the class, girls. Tomorrow we will see Ode to Nightingale, poetry by John Keats. Okay, girls. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz. If you have any doubts, please do ask in the Google Classroom, girls. Then I will clarify your doubts. Surely I will clarify your doubts. Okay. Thank you, girls. Take care. Allah Hafiz.